Now that the Frieren anime has concluded, I feel like it's a good time to explore this anime thematically and discuss how magical it really is. To say that Frieren is a remarkable anime would be such an understatement. It boasts an engaging plot, breathtaking animations, enchanting music, and so much more. So I think for this video, I'm only going to focus on content already covered in the anime, mainly because the show has completely drawn me in over the recent fall and winter season of anime, but also that way anime-only watchers don't get spoiled. Within Frieren, each character stands out uniquely and merits individual exploration. However, I'm particularly drawn to Stark. Whilst the low-key enigmatic warrior often serves as comic relief, Stark's story profoundly illustrates the journey of self-esteem and courage, and honestly reflects a piece of me. Stark's narrative begins in a warrior-dominated village. From a young age, he aspired to follow in these footsteps, yet he never quite met his father's expectations, especially when contrasted with his elder brother Stoltz, the village's star.
Stark is not introduced as a hero. He isn't confident, composed, or impressive at first glance. He's loud in the wrong moments, awkward when it matters, and visibly uncomfortable with his own existence. In a fantasy story filled with legendary warriors and immortal mages, Stark stands out not because of power, but because of insecurity. And that's exactly why he matters. From the moment Stark appears in Frieren, beyond Journey's End, it's clear that he doesn't believe in himself. He constantly undercuts his own achievements, apologizes for things that aren't his fault, and braces himself for disappointment. Even when others praise him, Stark struggles to accept it. Praise doesn't feel earned to him, it feels accidental. That mindset is painfully real. Stark teaches us that self-esteem isn't something you magically unlock once you become strong. It's something you wrestle with even after you've proven your worth. He is objectively powerful, trained by Aizen, capable of incredible feats. Yet emotionally, he still sees himself as inadequate. Frieren uses this contrast deliberately. Strength doesn't cure insecurity. Achievement doesn't erase self-doubt. One of the most important things Stark shows us is how fear and self-esteem are deeply connected. Stark isn't fearless. He's terrified. He freezes before battle, panics internally, and doubts every decision. But here's the key difference. He moves anyway. Courage in Frieren is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite it. Stark's fear doesn't make him weak. His fear makes him honest. Unlike traditional anime warriors who suppress fear to appear strong, Stark wears his fear openly. He admits when he's scared, he admits when he feels useless. And instead of being punished for that vulnerability, Frieren rewards it with growth. The story doesn't mock Stark for being insecure. It respects him for continuing forward regardless. This is where Stark becomes a powerful symbol for self-esteem. Real self-worth isn't built by pretending you're confident. It's built by showing up while doubting yourself. Stark doesn't wake up believing he's enough. He becomes enough through consistency. Another key lesson Stark teaches us is that self-esteem grows through responsibility, not validation. Stark doesn't suddenly gain confidence because people praise him. He gains it when others rely on him, when Fern trusts him, when Frieren expects him to stand his ground. Responsibility forces Stark to confront his own capabilities. He doesn't believe in himself, but he believes in protecting others. That's crucial. Many people struggle with self-esteem not because they lack ability, but because they lack permission to trust themselves. Stark borrows confidence from responsibility. He steps up not because he feels ready, but because someone needs him. Over time, that repeated action slowly rewires his self-perception. Stark also teaches us that masculinity doesn't need to be loud to be strong. He cries, he panics, he doubts himself constantly. Yet none of these traits diminish his worth. In fact, they make his courage more meaningful. Frieren presents a version of strength rooted in gentleness, empathy, and accountability, not dominance. This matters deeply. Stark's journey challenges the idea that confidence must come first. Instead, Frieren argues the opposite. Confidence often comes last. After failure, after fear, after effort. Self-esteem isn't something Stark finds. It's something he builds quietly, step by step, without realizing it. His relationship with Fern reinforces this idea. Fern doesn't boost Stark's confidence with grand speeches. She expects competence from him. She holds him accountable. She notices his effort even when he dismisses it. Fern doesn't coddle Stark. She believes in him more than he believes in himself. And that belief becomes a mirror Stark slowly learns to accept. Stark's self-esteem grows not because someone saves him, but because someone sees him. That's one of Frieren's strongest themes. People don't change because of dramatic moments. They change because of consistent presence. Stark's growth is subtle, almost invisible at times, but it's steady. He begins to stand straighter, speak more clearly, hesitate less. These are not anime power-ups. They're emotional milestones, and perhaps the most important lesson Stark teaches us is that feeling not enough doesn't disqualify you from growth. Stark feels behind. He feels weaker than others. He feels like he's failing at being an adult, a warrior, and a companion. Yet Frieren never treats him as a burden. The story makes room for his insecurity. That alone is powerful. That alone is powerful. Stark represents everyone who feels like they're trying harder than others just to stay afloat. Everyone who doubts themselves even when the CEO is there doing their best. Everyone who feels like confidence is something other people were born with. Stark shows us that self-esteem isn't about believing you're special. It's about believing you're capable of trying again. And in that quiet, persistent effort, Stark becomes one of Frieren's most human characters. Not because he overcomes insecurity completely, but because he learns to live with it without letting it stop him. That's the lesson Stark leaves us with. You don't need to feel confident to move forward. You don't need to feel worthy to protect others. You don't need to silence your doubt to Kiro. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is take one step while still feeling unsure. And Stark does that every single day.